Hey everybody, I hope you are all happy, healthy, and safe in 2022 in the midst of all of the challenges that the world is throwing at us at the moment. I'm trying to do the same. And I guess to start the year off on a bit of a positive note, I've put forward how many books that I want to read under the Goodreads Reading Challenge for 2022. Now, if you're an author and you have lots of books out and that you've got a bit of a name for yourself, you may have feelings towards Goodreads that make you not want to walk out into that space. I've heard it called a wretched hive of scum and villainy by some authors, but I've personally not found that myself. I like the Goodreads Reading Challenge because it really lets me get my head in the game of what kind of books I want to read through the year, how many I'll be able to get through realistically, and gives me a chance to really kind of plan out what I want to do. Now, I just want to take a little moment to kind of go through my favorite books from 2021 because I read a lot of good books last year. And when I say read books, I'm talking about ebooks, physical books, and also listening to audiobooks. Now, with audiobooks, and I'm a firm believer in the camp of it doesn't matter the delivery method of a story, as long as I enjoy the story and I get to experience it. That's really all that matters to me. But there are some audiobook narrators that really take things to a completely different level. And I don't want to pick favorites of the books that I read last year, but it's really 5 standouts that I really want to give a huge shout out to. And 2 of them were audiobooks. My top 2 of the entire year, were audiobooks. And both of them, funnily enough, were were narrated by the same guy. So Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. The less that you know about the book before going into it, the better. So if you liked any of his previous stuff, like he wrote The Martian and he wrote Artemis, I haven't read that one myself, but I love The Martian. And funnily enough, the audiobook for that too. But if you love audiobooks, if you love sci-fi, if you love kind of that kind of thing, you need to check out Project Hail Mary, and do not read a single thing. Don't read reviews. Don't even read a summary. Just go and get it and listen to it, read it, whatever you do. Trust me. Come back here after you've done that and let me know what you think. So you will not be disappointed. So Project Hail Mary was narrated by a guy called Ray Porter. And he also narrated Mount Fitzroy by Scott Sigler. Now, Mount Fitzroy is the second in the Earth Core series. I think it's called the Sun Symbol series or something like that. And I don't want to say anything that's going to spoil that either, but if you like, military action, high tech stuff, I don't even want to like say any of the other buzzwords that's going through my head right now, just in case I spoil anything. Go and get Earth Core, the first book in the series, and then graduate to Mount Fitzroy as soon as you can, because both of those books just absolutely top level of what I read last year. Now, a couple of others that I really want to give a big shout out to is Cunning Folk by Adam Neville. Now, folk horror is not really something that I ever thought that I would, go out of my way to seek. But after he wrote The Reddening, and then now Cunning Folk, I've kind of started to seek out some folk horror, and I'm really, really starting to dig it. It's got a really, really different feel to a lot of the other horror out there, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, Cunning Folk by Adam Neville, highly recommended. Now the next 3 books I'm just going to roll up all into one, and it is the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinniman. It's a lit RPG series about a dude named Carl who was outside with his pet cat, his ex-girlfriend's pet cat, when an alien corporation bought the rights to Earth and transformed it into a giant dungeon crawling game show. It is hilarious, puerile, disgusting, compelling, and hilarious. Yes, hilarious times 2. I read all the first 3 books in the series last year. I'm now listening to the audiobook from the fourth in the series at the moment. So that's probably going to be one of the first ones I finish this year. And I cannot recommend the series enough. It is absolutely fantastic. And honestly, it's one of those ones where even people who don't like lit RPG will probably enjoy it as well. So yeah, just cannot recommend that one highly enough. And my other fifth that's in like my top that I read last year is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, that is another audiobook. But like honestly, the Stormlight Archive series is one of those series now where like I am strapped in on the roller coaster and I will not be able to stop myself until it's done. And I bought the ebook when it came out because I didn't have any credits on Audible, and I tried to read it, but it just wasn't the same because I'd done the last 3 books in audio. So I was like, nah, I got to resub to Audible just to get that. But yeah, I mean, I can't say anything about the series really, except that it is a sprawling, epic fantasy on a cosmic scale, with magic swords and magic suits of armor and incredible world building, and yeah, just it is just so good. And if you're looking for like any kind of long series on Audible that's going to make it worth your credits, I mean, every single one of these books in the Stormlight Archives is 50 hours or more. So 4 credits, you get 200 hours worth of entertainment, and it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, those are my top 5 from last year. I didn't read as much horror as I would have liked, because I mean horror is my thing. It's what I wrote the first time I wrote a book. All of my lit RPGs have a horror tinge to them, and it's what I love most. But I kind of think that, you know, all the stuff that's been going on in the real world over the last couple of years, man, sometimes you just want to read and have a good time and not get stressed out. Just like I don't play horror video games anymore because it's just too stressful. to be completely honest, I really wanted to do a replay through of the 3 Dead Space games, but man, the atmosphere of that first one, I just can't do it at the moment. I'm sure there will come a time when I will, but we'll get there soon. So I guess for what I want to read so far, what I want to read this year, I've already read 1 book. So I read the first book of the Cradle series by Will White. Now, if you're in any of the lit RPG, game lit, cultivation, progression fantasy groups, you will know that anytime anyone brings up the question of what's your favorite series, within the first 3 or 4 comments, someone is going to say Cradle by Will White. Now, I finished the first book a couple of days ago, and I can see what all the fuss is about now. So I'll be probably not too far, and I'll be reading the second book on that one. And like I said, I'm almost finished Dungeon Crawler Carl 4, which is also an incredible book. Probably my favorite of the series so far. So those are 2 that I'll be doing so far, but I really want to make an effort this year, in 2022, to read a lot more local Australian authors, especially within the horror genre, the spec fic genre, and that kind of thing. And I've got way too many author friends that I've never read any books by. So I bought books from plenty of them and got them signed on my shelf, but there's very few of them that I've actually had a chance to read so far. So I really do want to change that in 2022. I want to read more horror. I want to read more lit RPG because I want to become a little bit more, literate in, the history of the genre and all of that kind of thing. Because while I write in it at the moment and I love the genre, I'm not that well read in it. So all of the classic series, I haven't really read much of so far, except for Viridian Gate Online and the Completionist Chronicles. Those ones I've read quite a few in. But I just want to make an effort to kind of read more widely and have a look at some of the smaller stories that don't have the bigger following, as well as all of those classic ones. But it's going to be one of those years, I think, again, where, well, I mean, we don't know if we're going to be able to relax anytime soon with everything that's happening with COVID and all that kind of thing. But I really want to just kind of disconnect from the social medias and stuff a little bit more this year than previous years, and just escape into some other worlds. I think that'd be good. So yeah, well, thanks for checking the video out. If you have a Goodreads account, feel free to go and shoot me a friend request. You'll see all of my reviews as they pop up. And I honestly think that Goodreads is probably only one of the ethical ways that, apart from, reviewing, it's probably one of the ethical ways of reviewing other books that isn't hosted on your own site. I personally believe that authors shouldn't be reviewing on Amazon because it's the storefront that we all sell on, and it's conflict of interest. But sharing your views on Goodreads, on your own blog, all of that kind of stuff, that's cool. That's cool. As long as you're not going out of the way to like grief anyone or troll anyone or anything like that, it's all good. But yeah, you can follow my reviews on there. Shoot me a friend request. You'll get updates when I post to my blog. It also goes onto Goodreads and all of that kind of thing. But I'm interested to find out what your reading goals for 2022 are. What do you want to read more of? Is there anything that stood out from you that you read in 2021 that you'd recommend to other people? Yeah, and that's it from me. So as always, stay happy, happy, safe, and sane. See you next time.